Hey guys, Nightwolf here, and I know that I've done a lot of videos talking about Marvel and about their problems and whatnot, and that's not really what this video is going to be, though it does pertain to them. This is more or less me kind of discussing a topic that I found relatively interesting. Now, a guy on YouTube by the name of Douglas Ernst, he has a video, there will be a video down in the description about Secret Empire issue 0, and talking and discussing about that. And in his video, he talked about something relatively interesting called postmodernism. Now, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I got, the gist or understanding of it is how the modern era views certain things, the more cynical nature and whatnot. And you guys know me pretty well. I'm somewhat relatively cynical as it is. I can be very harsh at times. I can be kind of an ass. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything, and I'm definitely not. And I know that I come off as very cynical and very harsh a lot of the time, but the truth of the matter is I'm not always that cynical. I can find enjoyment in things. I do love certain things. I can just be very critical over certain things that I love. But the thing that I found relatively interesting about the whole postmodernism type discussion is that it is something that Marvel has done, DC has done it, a lot of big companies have done it, is the deconstruction of heroes. Now, there's nothing wrong with that type of story. It can be great. It can be a lot of fun. Even certain stories like DC's cinematic universe, even though it's not the best thing in the world, is somewhat of a deconstruction of superheroes to an extent. It's not the best example. It's just the only one I could technically think off the top of my head. Other stories like, what was it? Dark Knight Returns, that's a pretty decent deconstruction of heroes. Watchmen is, Watchmen is a deconstruction, but in my opinion, it's not as good as other ones like The Dark Knight, because Alan Moore is a little bit of a strange hippie man that is a bit odd. I'm not a huge fan of his work in general, and I barely know enough about it to go into that topic. Anyway, but that is kind of what Marvel has been doing over the last, 10 years. I think it's because they focus way too much on reality, or that coined phrase, the world outside your window, that they tend to forget that this is still fiction. This isn't reality. This is why DC, I think, is stable for the most part, at least currently and whatnot, or they're putting the focus on the fact that their heroes are larger than life a lot of the times. It's not that you can't relate to these characters and whatnot, it's that they're just larger than life. They are heroes. When was the last time you saw a bunch of major punch-outs with their heroes versus other heroes over certain situations? That's not to say that that never happens in DC Comics, because it does, but think about it. Which is the company that is pitting hero versus hero almost 99% of the time? That's right. It's Marvel. It's not DC. Yeah, they do it on occasion, but not that often. Also, the other thing with deconstructions, especially with DC, a lot of their deconstructions and whatnot are in alternate realities, alternate Earths. They're not in the main universe or in the main continuity all the time. They can be, but they aren't always there. But Marvel, due to the fact that they don't treat their multiverse the same way as DC, which is completely fine, it's one of the things that I'm okay with Marvel, is that they've gone so far down the rabbit hole that there's really they don't really know how to climb back out and just focus the characters on being heroes. They just want everyone to be mistrust among themselves. They want the readers to not trust their heroes. And it's kind of disgusting, to be honest. Like I said, this isn't me just ranting about Marvel in general. I'm just pointing this out because I thought it was an interesting discussion piece. Once again, I'm not trying to bash Marvel. It may come off as that, but this isn't really a rant. This is me just genuinely talking about this. Because, like I said, deconstruction is fine. And having heroes that are maybe not as heroic as we give them credit, and that we shouldn't put our whole trust in them, is an interesting discussion. But at the same time, then there's another part of it, is that when heroes, you see, when you're a writer of any kind, you're supposed to have your heroes have low points. They have to rise to the occasion and, pick themselves back up. And with the current state of how Marvel has worked their universe, I don't know how the characters can pick themselves up after the fact. It can happen, but it's going to it could take years. If Marvel can get right the ship, it could take years for this to be fixed. I think one of the things that was kind of interesting is that I think at the end of Secret Empire, I think that Steve Rogers is going to die. Again, I'm not saying that's definitive, but I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. Or at least this alternate reality version of Steve Rogers is going to die. And once again, I think that this Secret Empire story is more or less going to focus more on Sam Wilson, because from what I've heard, it sounds like that's going to be the case. It's going to focus on Sam and him going back to being Captain America and all that type of stuff. I don't know. I don't think that it's going to go over as well as Marvel will think it will. Because one, I don't even think Sam would want to. I know I wouldn't want the Captain America legacy after probably whatever will happen in Secret Empire, no matter what happens. Not to mention that this has been done before. And it's in the cartoon show Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They did this whole thing of putting trust in Captain America and whatnot. Yeah. You remember when he was taken by a Skrull, and that Skrull made everybody trust him, and then he took them all out, and then Cap had to recover from it and whatnot? That was a better story, because it's easier to explain away the reason why it's not Cap, why it's not Steve Rogers. This one, in Secret Empire, not so much. It's a bit weird. Even if they can convince people it's an alternate reality version of Cap, or maybe that this whole entire universe that we currently have been visiting isn't the real one, I don't know. But it's a crazy thing. I don't know. Not really sure what's going to happen. Maybe Secret Empire might be able to be a good story. It probably will. It'll probably sell really well, and Marvel will continue their event fatigue driven bullcrap. I don't really know, and I don't much care. At least about the event stuff, because I'm kind of tired of just seeing it in general. But tell me what you guys think. I'd greatly appreciate your thoughts and input on it. I always do. I enjoy doing these discussion videos. But anyway, once again, thank you guys for everything. And as always, do not forget to raise your nerd flags high, and I'll see you next time. Night Wolf's out.